Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Protoss Bronze to Masters League Series game. Today we're going to be looking at a PV random. As you can see, it is a PvZ. But today is pretty exciting. I've gotten a couple of messages from one of the viewers asking for me to talk about my hotkey bindings, as well as some of my way I manage my armies and such throughout the game. So this game is actually kind of an interesting game. Since he was random, I went for a really conservative play. We're going to be doing our typical Naniwa build that you probably saw in my nice little troll video on Tuesday. That was definitely an exciting little match I got to play against top 100 GM Korea. Definitely like, I walked into the game and it was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna lose this, but we are gonna give it a shot. So anyways, we're gonna do a scout on 9, only because this is a 1-player map, and had it been a normal 4-player map, I would have definitely scouted it after 13 gate. Anyway, so we're gonna get in here and just check to make sure nothing cheesy's going on. Always want to do that, especially against a random player. And we see the 15 pool go down, so we're pretty comfortable. Anyways, hotkey binding. So I always, whenever I load up, I click on the Nexus, hit that E button, and then immediately hotkey my number 4 button with the Nexus. And then I also do my camera locations by hitting Shift F3 and go down to my natural and hit Shift F2. So that way I can switch between my different Nexus positions and such as the game progresses further and things get a little bit more complicated. So, going to be going into, like I said, Naniwa build. Going to get our extractor out on 14, and then going to be planning down our cybernetics core, and then we're going to start building our zealot and then cancel it, assuming that we don't see anything going on. Now, nice little caveat to this game. I did get in here and deny this expansion for actually a fair amount of time. You can see we're still at around 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Usually the hatch will go down at around probably around the 250 mark for people who normally play Zerg. But we're going to see basically not a whole lot. Now, one thing that I did forget to do is this probe should have gone back in to scout for gas timing. Usually if he goes for the extractor, we know we're going to be dealing with some early speed. And then, if he doesn't go for this extractor, we know he's going to probably be going for that third base really quick. So, anyways, probe's going to get across. We're going to plant down our Nexus as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we got our mothership core. Now, as we get into kind of the mid and late game, we're basically going to start to focus on, kind of our army and how we control and, get presence on the map. Now, I'll go ahead and speed it up since it's pretty minimal. Mothership core comes in here, deals a little bit with this mild aggression, and we're pretty much just going to happily probe up and get up our wall. But yeah, so as we get things rolling, we're going to be getting out some zealots and things like that to keep an eye on this third base. This third base is very critical in this matchup, because it dictates whether or not we're going to be up against aggression, or whether or not we're going to be up against kind of a passive player who's, comfortable droning up pretty heavily. So, feeling good where we are right now. Going to send out our zealot as we did before, and then our mothership core is going to come over here and check the watchtower and things like that. As you can see, we have a little bit drone scouting, making sure that there's no random pylons or anything. And then he's going to go ahead and send a handful of lings across and then send them back to deal with this. Now, unfortunately, I didn't coordinate this well. What should have happened is, rather than send the zealot in and do a little bit of damage to this hatchery, I should have just sent it in to poke in, scout it, and then come back. By not hitting it, I'm not signaling him that, hey, something's going on over here, and I can let this zealot chill out over here while my probe is getting into position to do kind of a little bit of 4-gate pressure. So we're gonna end up losing this zealot, unfortunately. I think we're gonna lose that zealot. But we do actually get over here and get this pylon down, which is pretty surprising. I saw his lings coming after me, so I was like, okay, we're gonna hold off and do a little dance around the circle, let the mothership core kind of be our defense.
and basically just put ourselves into a position where we can warp in more units down here. Now, +1 is almost finished, and when +1 is finished, that's when we kind of want to push in and get things going. Now, for some odd reason, when I warped these zealots in, they didn't start moving to where I wanted them to, so got to get them back in position to go ahead and start this aggression. Now, we did go ahead and plant down a handful more gates, because at this point, I'm not sure where our opponent is. You know, we did a lot of denial early up front, as far as dealing with, you know, having his expansion not go down as early as he wants. And as far as defenses, we really haven't seen a whole lot. So we're feeling pretty comfortable, just kind of coming in here, continually warping in stuff. And then we go ahead and warp in a handful of stalkers to deal with a lot of these overlords. We saw, you know, 3 or 4 overlords at this third base pop up. So we want to try and minimize the amount of production that our opponent can't have. Now we see 30 lings coming out on the way. I remember like seeing all the lings and being like, oh crap. So anyways, gonna be doing that. Now back at home, need to finish the warping in those gates. Basically just gonna be droning up, focusing on what's going on down here, because that's kind of the crucial point of contention right now. All of our units are out on the field, exposed, and we want to put ourselves into a position. Now I actually come up in here and I'm like, crap, that's a lot of units. So I back up, use a time warp to try and minimize it. Now I tried to do a recall, wasn't able to get it off in time, but since I do have +1 already out, I can just warp in some more zealots and should be able to clean this up fairly well. One thing that I got in that message, I believe his name was Nicholas, he had asked how to deal with kind of early ling aggression. Well, in my opinion, +1 zealots are your best friend. You know, they're nice little meat grinder swords for hands. Do pretty good. So, meanwhile, we're going to be going ahead and getting our third base up to start to transition into the mid game. Now, I'm feeling a little strange at this point because it's like, okay, he's got 6 queens and a lot of lings. To me, that's pretty much is a resounding, hey, I'm going swarm host, because a lot of times you see like mass queen swarm host. You know, he does a really good job as we get kind of into the 13-14 minute mark, getting his creep really far out. So that's kind of what I originally thought that he was going to do, and we'll actually see I go ahead and throw down like 3 stargates just as a reaction to that. Fortunately enough for me, he does end up going for Spire in the end, and we do fairly well. So, gonna be getting up our expansion and things like that. And basically this game's gonna boil down to a couple key engagements. As you can see, both of us are kind of sitting back on our bases, not really doing a whole lot, just doing a little bit of scouting. Gonna send out a handful of zealots to kind of get an idea of what's going on. And he's gonna send a whole bunch of lings, yada yada. We're gonna got our stargates going down, and then you know, he just, I don't feel like he really knew what he was doing. You know, he's got a whole bunch of lings, he's got Hydra, he's got 10 mutas on the way. He just doesn't really understand what type of composition he's going for. I've never seen ling Hydra muta. Just to me, it doesn't seem like it would work out. But he does have a fair amount of mutas that are able to do a fair amount of damage to my zealots. So I'm going to send them in, try and get as much damage done as possible with these zealots, more or less sacrifice them. Meanwhile, back at home, I'm going to be getting on some High Templars, or some Archons, excuse me, as well as some Void Rays, and then, you know, I start to switch over into Phoenix production here shortly. Then I also went around, planted some pylons, doing kind of that sort of stuff. So now, as far as army management, once you get into the late game, I tend to keep things on one hotkey. As you can see, hotkey number 1 is pretty much my entire army, and then based on whether or not I do counterattacks and things like that, I usually don't hotkey them. I usually just warp them in, send them to wherever they're going to go, and let them do their thing so I can focus on what's going on with my main army. As you can see, going to come in, take out the rest of his stuff, throw down the fleet beacon because we can, throw down the dark shrine so we can do more harassment, and basically we're just feeling pretty comfortable. We're on +2, +1, +3 is about halfway done, and we just basically took out the majority of his army. I mean, looking at the units tab, he's got a single Muta, 3 Hydralisk, and 24 Lings, and that really isn't going to do a whole lot compared to my army. Now, as far as upgrades are concerned for him, he's at +1, and I think he's at +1 flyers as well. So overall, his upgrades just really aren't up to snuff. You know, I'm going to go ahead and take my 4th base and 5th base just because I can, and we're feeling pretty good at pretty much just moving into our opponent at this point. So let me know what you guys think. You know, as far as when you play random players, it really is just about being conservative and then also understanding whatever matchup you get matched up with. A lot of times, especially in the lower leagues, people who play random, they tend to be a little bit more cheesy, so you got to be kind of cognizant of that and make sure, you know, you're scouting all of the right things, so you can, you know, play appropriately and do the best that you can do. So yeah, with this, I'm going to split up my army, kind of walk into his main, take out his 3rd, do all this fun stuff. And that is going to be it, I believe. Let's go. So he calls GG, leaves the game, and that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Things like that. Also, if you are new and want to see more of my content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I produce videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and if you enjoyed, feel free to hit that like button and share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter who are learning Protoss. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.